Sashi puki chukshing mek to chan. Riragling shin yende gyempadi. Sangye shing du mikte uagi. Jokunyam dakshing ajupasho. Idam guru ratna mandalakam yuratayam. Ooh. Did more flowers appear? How beautiful. Did they just appear? They weren't here before. It's like, must be the heat. They're just like sprouting. So we've only made it into the first, 9 of the 64. And upon hearing, such holy vows, immediately you should begin watching your mind. I don't know if anyone did so during the rest, because you were resting. But you should really watch your mind and begin right away working on them. At least trying to recall them. Like, oh, what were they, without checking your notes, without getting crazy, just like thinking, what stood out in my mind most? Because if you don't do it, and especially after today, which you'll probably just want to get as much rest as you want before even tomorrow, but just as you're getting home or as you're falling asleep, or as you're waking up, because that's about the only time you have between the next class, is you really should try to recall as many as, is everything okay? Yeah, that's pretty woo. Beautiful though. Okay, happy? No, move this one over a little. A little to the right. A little towards you. Perfect. Suffering of change. You got to flow with it, Because those will be the ways you respond to the little things, and you create something when you're making a change, not just moving something that's an obstruction. Make special effort to make it so the next time you won't have an obstruction. You'll have the perfect environment. I don't know what I was saying before. Oh, I know. The odds are, if you don't start recalling them to your mind now and right away, that you probably won't do it. You see? You won't. It'll be much stronger if you start recalling them right away. Try to remember. Just whatever ones, like I said, you don't need to go through your notes and get panicked about it. Just whatever ones come to your mind that stand out, keep it in your mind. You do it now, do it, then tomorrow you'll do the same thing, and then throughout the week, start right away. It makes a difference. Because if you just put it aside and say, well, especially for those that are doing homeworks, and which I hope all people who want to take vows are considering that they should be doing the homeworks and quizzes. By the way, deal? It's okay if you don't do them this weekend, that I understand. It's okay. I'd rather you just kind of sit and recall the vows and the things that we've been talking about and meditating on that, you could start it next week. Take a day off and celebrate, and then start the homework. So it would be really nice, because it's just going to be, reminding you what you've learned and helping you. Really. That's what it'll be. But check yourself a couple of times a day, but have fun with it. That's why I want you to kind of start lightly, and just be thinking about it, because then maybe you'll have so much fun before you start getting maybe serious about that 6 times book, which we'll talk about, and, reading them, and, just see what comes to your mind. What vow pops to your mind today? And then all day have fun with it. Hopefully you pick one that you can contemplate on all day, right? It's amazing to have them, the guidelines, and if otherwise, just helping others and trying to be more at peace and less mentally afflicted ourselves. If you don't know what to look for, like we're just trying to help others, you're just trying to have less mental afflictions, but you're not sure what exactly you're looking for, it's hard. It's hard. These guidelines are like amazing. I mean, for eons, And then it's if you don't start now, it's like, because now the fire is burning. It's burning out there. It's burning inside, It's so you catch it while it's hot. It really makes a difference. It really does. Your mind is on it. You just get into the habit of searching your heart every day. How you're actually living according to the things that you learned. Start now. Because, and also if you've heard them before, some people have taken them. I know there's a couple of people that have taken them. Don't ever think that, oh, I heard this before, or I know that, because then nothing will come in. Nothing at all will come in. It's like when someone's talking to you and you're like, I heard that already. You don't want to hear anything. Nothing will come in. You stop them. I heard that already. So especially because you know what? You're going to be reviewing these vows for the rest of your life. So what are you going to come up to one and say, oh, I know that already? Or I'm good at that already? You're going to do that? I don't think so. Okay, there'll be 1 or 2 that, are stronger, and 1 or 2 that you can kind of feel you're good at. But you're not going to skip that one and say, oh, let me get to the next one. You know what that is. That's just arrogance. That's just something that's not going to allow you to pour more wisdom into your mind. Because there's always that circle. Okay, so you're good here. I mean, this is in the center is the thing that you should be wanting, going for, your highest goal, and as well on the negative side, the thing that you want to avoid. So you have the circle, and you're out here, and then you're in here. As soon as you get too close to the thing you want to avoid, you see yourself getting closer to it, you step out, right? But the thing that you want, then you have to make sure you get closer and closer to. So you watch yourself that much. Sometimes you'll be that far away from ever, dissing somebody again. Sometimes you'll be this close to doing it. So there's different degrees of your reactions. And you have to know how close are you to just about ready to say something really stupid that's going to harm them. Or how far away you are. And you have to know yourself. What does it take? How many people to push you before you get pushy? How many meals do you have to miss before you get irritable? Or how many hours of sleep do you have to not have before you can't be bothered with anybody? So you know how, and it could change, you know, you could have a varying degree too, depending on the season. If it's hotter out, maybe only one person has to push you from across the street. But in the winter, you know, it's easier to have them around, you know, they keep you warm. Or if it's at the beach, then, you know, they could bump into you all day long, you don't care. So know also the conditions around you that kind of set you into a place of, you know, reacting. That's your circle. It's your circle too. Because everyone's is different. Everyone's is very different. So we're only up to the root downfall number 10. Number 10. Destroying towns and such. You may think that you cannot destroy a country. You know? It's towns, city, because there's and such. Sorry. Town, city, town, city. Country. Village. You figure out the difference. The place is, there's really nothing left out unless you want to include planet and universe. And you could do that. But don't be fooled that you can't destroy a city, a country, you yourself. Generally speaking, you would think it's like, you know, the king and the president that's, you know, has some power or some say over a country. We generally think that. You have created this city. You have created the whole town, universe that you live in. So if it comes from you and the deeds and thoughts of your mind, then what makes you think you can't destroy it? I mean, especially if you've reached at least a level in your understanding of karma and emptiness that you have planted seeds for everything that you see and do, then you have to believe that one action can destroy the whole country. Because, you know, karma multiplies, right? Multiplies. You know, what acts of violence do you do that can destroy a whole city? You know? What kind of inconsiderate habits do you have that can destroy, you know, a whole country? You know, we don't tend to think that we have that power to destroy a village, even. I mean, it's just a denial of emptiness and where things come from. So anytime you think that the papers on the floor or the dust in the air or the loud air conditioner is not coming from you, you've just denied emptiness, the possibility and the potential. But to break the vow, to destroy one of these places, you have to have the motivation in your mind. You have to have some sort of ownership for the place, or like, you know, meaning lack of ownership or ownership. Some sort of dislike or like for the place, or ignorance. You know, it does not come from my projection. It does not come from my past deeds. To just think that. I have nothing to do with the cranes falling down on Broadway and 90, whatever. Oh, that's the fault of the construction. Has nothing to do with my pride, my arrogance. It does. But if within this vow, it includes what do you say? It's about the actual country and the place. It doesn't include striking the people in the place, because you can go and try to kill people in a particular town, but you don't destroy the town. So you see the difference? So that's not what we're talking about here. It's the actual place. Because that's a different motivation. Now, easily kings and presidents can commit this downfall, of course. It seems easier for them. But don't think that you don't have the power to do that. I mean, do you want your neighborhood to stay clean and safe at the expense of another neighborhood? You know? Because you want your property value to go up and you're investing all energy in your property value to go up and not taking care of another neighborhood. You spend time and resources to help your own country rather than another country. You know, what do you do to not have someone's village get destroyed? Because you'll get this vow, you know, you'll be checking your mind and say, okay, how did I destroy this city today? And you'll be sitting there like, I did nothing, I did nothing, I know I did nothing. You got to look deep for some of these. They're really fun. You have to have fun with them. I don't know what to tell you, but they're really fun. They are, right? You'll see. When you start checking your mind for that, because, you know, what did I do to destroy the country? Nothing. You did. The next one is teaching emptiness to a person who is not yet mentally prepared. Majang Tongyitan. To teach the idea of emptiness to those not well trained, those not prepared, a person who has not yet reached a level where they can absorb that understanding of emptiness that you're teaching them. You try to present them with some Madhyamika Prasangita view of the second school, view, instead of, teaching maybe in a skillful way. Even if they have the wish and compassion, like you see somebody really has the compassion, they really want to help each other, others and stuff, but they don't truly understand where suffering comes from. So you try, you think, try to teach them. Well, it comes from the causes that you set in motion and the suffering that you've caused others. And here they're trying to help some abused child and parents that are totally battered and beaten, and they're thinking, you know what I'm saying? I did that? And then they never help again. Something. You know what I'm saying? You have to be careful. Very, very careful. Because meanwhile, they're doing such great compassionate work with these people. Do they really need to understand at that moment? Maybe. Do they? Maybe not. Maybe yes. Maybe not. Because then they'll be like, oh, those Buddhist people can't even help, blah, 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 blah. Seriously. So this is a very important vow about emptiness. Plus learning how to teach emptiness properly. I mean, if someone becomes so frightened that they turn back from their wish, from their compassion, that's the point in this particular vow, then you broke the vow. You didn't, they say, forget about it. I'm just going to try to get out of suffering myself. Forget about everybody else's suffering. Then you didn't do proper service to your understanding. But as a result of your presentation of emptiness, that they already entered the greater way, right? Because they've already entered into compassion. They have the wish, okay? And what happens is, because of the way you present it, they become frightened. And they pull back. They get disturbed. They might even give up the teachings completely. Their compassion. They give up their compassion. And then just focus on, how well they could meditate and have a peaceful life and forget about everybody else. It's hard to know. Sometimes it's hard to know how to share when you have a certain wisdom with karma and emptiness. It's hard to know. But I think over time, the more you really practice it, the more that you see how it fits into different aspects of your life and your own suffering, then you know how you can introduce it to others. Because you do have to give your wisdom. You do. It's such an important and rare understanding. And it's the thing that's going to make the difference in your life. So you do have to. So you have to kind of think about this really a lot. But don't harm them, right? Again, we're not going to harm them. We're going to help them. If it is going to shake their spiritual development, then they're not ready. Then they're not ready. So, ultimately, if you've really checked out the person, you were so sure they were ready, and then you said something, and then, all things, all hell broke loose, and they got scared and all this, but you really was trying, and then they say you don't break your vow. Because you were really working from the point of view. But just be careful when you are trying to, because you can't judge anybody anyway. I mean, that's the joke about something. You can't. So it's really coming from you. It's going to be your understanding of emptiness. So be really sure about what you're teaching is really clear in your mind before you even say it in that way. Test it. Debate it. You should be debating it, with other people who received the same teaching. Well, no, it was this, this, and And so then when you go out and when you have a debate like that with somebody who has that kind of understanding and same teaching that you've received, then if it's a good debate, then each person would probably say exactly what somebody else will say in response to your teaching. And then you'll actually learn the different things you can say. You understand that? You should purposely, when you're debating with somebody, even when you know the answer, you purposely should say something really stupid in return to them to see what, so then you have to think, oh, how do I answer that? You're supposed to kind of bring that out in someone when you're debating, especially if you know the answer. You don't just give it right away, and that's like, what fun is that? What kind of analytical? You just say something that's so ridiculous to just throw them off. But don't push others. Just use your skillful means. And don't expect others to grasp the words that you say. Don't expect it. You have to say it again and 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 again. Really, you do. You know how you have to hear it again and again, right? You do. You're going to hear it again and again. Especially emptiness. Oh my God. Because especially, it's deep. And do it properly. I think most people have probably heard a good explanation, and because you don't want to teach a wrong view about emptiness at all. So take the time and study the different views that people can have that, we're not going to go through them now. I mean, that's another day, hour, month. Think this though, if someone tries to teach you emptiness, or if you hear anything about emptiness and it doesn't include karma, it must include karma. Morality. It should be understood in conjunction. Otherwise it's some sort of incomplete kind of idea about emptiness. So the next root downfall is to cause a person to turn back from total enlightenment. Total enlightenment. Can you have half enlightenment? Yeah. Nirvana. Nirvana. That'll wear out. But yeah, if you strive just for the peace of nirvana, it's not total enlightenment. Total enlightenment means you're doing it for the benefit of others. And it's a different goal. So this is turning back from total enlightenment. The person must be a person who turns back must have the wish that will bring them to total enlightenment. They've entered the Mahayana teachings. They're not just going for nirvana. By you saying, oh, you could never follow the 6 perfections, instead, you should make your goal, just nirvana. Then you'll be free of suffering. And then they decide never to go back to Bodhisattva practices. They just give it up. So, causing a person to turn back from total enlightenment, does that include yourself? Are you a person? I mean, I don't know. When I think of these vows sometimes, I think of myself as a... Because, what if you decide yourself to give it up? I mean, how do you cause yourself to give it up? What feelings should you fight to not give it up? Feelings of doubt, laziness. So watch your own mind when you have that. Then you're about to do that yourself. If you have doubts yourself, then you'll actually because if you watch your own mind and see when your doubts come up, right? Then we're in that circle. I don't know at which point, but I get the idea. You figure it out. You're in the circle. Then if you have the doubts, then what's going to happen is, we're going in, right? So you're going to say something to somebody else. You're going to say things that will reflect your doubts, and you're going to get closer in to that. If you're having a doubtful day, a down day, a lazy day, then you're going to say something so stupid to somebody. Okay? So you have to watch your own doubts. If you think it's impossible for a human being to become perfected in this life, then what are you going to tell somebody? Yeah, maybe you could do it, maybe not. What are you going to tell them that? Right? Maybe, You can't do that. You can tell somebody maybe you can get to enlightenment in this life. I don't know. So before you even really touch upon that, make sure you have no doubt. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You got to learn how to teach the wisdom to others. You got to learn to see what's in your heart before you say anything, before you do anything. don't think you got to go contemplate for years and years. I mean, well, you do, but don't not do anything. Well, in order to go and contemplate for years, you better be helping people first. So it's such a tricky thing. So just know exactly where you're coming from, and just know that that's exactly what you're going to say. Even though intellectually you might have heard something else, you got to kind of check your heart, where your heart is at. Don't pick up on it. So the downfall is when they give it up, and it's not that they turn to some other spiritual path. It's not about that. It's like they've turned around from working for the benefit of others in a greater way. So the next one is the downfall of causing a person to give up the morality of freedom. The individual freedom vows, which we spoke about, are the vows of freedom, that if you keep them, you yourself, you will become free. Oh, look at that. I didn't notice that all along. You've been there? Maybe we should have something. Maybe now's a good time, huh? You think? I'll have to wait. Individual freedom. You shall have it. Vowed morality, right? Either of a lay person or ordained person, at least keeping the top 10 non-virtues. So a person who's committing, the person who, who's keeping properly morality, the individual freedom vows and top 10. And you tell them that keeping those vows are not very important for attaining enlightenment. Because those vows are not directed towards that, right? We discussed a little bit of the differences yesterday. Right? They're about not harming each other, etc. Restraining from certain things. Okay? But because of what you say, a person who's keeping their Praktimosha vows very nicely, they turn away from the morality of individual freedom. Then the downfall is complete. When they agree to give up the Praktimosha vows. Look at that, I got all orange ones. The combination of vows are just so, it's incredible. They're very, very important. To not harm, to help, to try to get there quickly. To try to get there as quickly as possible. If you don't get that, then you don't understand that keeping your normal morality is the basis of keeping the Bodhisattva vows. It's the basis of it. You can't do it without it. Holding that a person cannot eliminate desire and the rest by following the way of the learner. Wanting to get rid of your own personal suffering and not doing so because you want to help all other living beings. You know? It's kind of, you say to someone, no matter how much that you study those lower tracks, those, motivations to just get out of suffering yourself, no matter how much you study that, you cannot remove your mental afflictions. You can't reach nirvana. And that's not true. So I just want to make a point, because some of these vows are like that, and we're going to get into more later when you're really sick, because they're at the end of secondary. What? You will meet people and you will meet situations where it looks like they are on the track of we call it self-made Buddhas and the listeners and stuff like that, because they don't have a teacher in this lifetime and stuff. You can almost be sure that they must have had a teacher some other life in order to even get on those tracks, to even have those kind of studies. It's so hard. I mean, once you get into, judging, well, where are they at? It's a lower path, this is a higher path, this is this path. It's just you're entering into a place where you're probably going to get into trouble. Please be aware for your own practice. What school is teaching this? What school is teaching that? So you can have like this amazing amount of knowledge. And you'll know what works for you. You'll know the path. How can you be sure what's gonna if the mental afflictions are less, then you're doing it. If your mental afflictions are less, but if you tell somebody it's impossible, you're discounting their practice. And they say you break the vow actually when someone grasps that idea, what you're saying. Like if it goes over their head and they don't really hear it, then you don't really break your vow. It's funny, right? So I think that's funny because you hear it, see? And then you have the imprint of you saying it. You must study Hinayana like deeply. Spend years on Abhidharma and karma. That's a lower track. Monks and nuns' vows is Vinaya. That's from Hinayana. But the point is, you must see other religions as not a lower path, a lesser path. At the same time, you can know you're on the highest path possible without saying and criticizing and believing that someone's on a lower path. Does that make sense to you? You can still feel in your heart you are on the fastest, quickest path to the highest goal without ever considering or criticizing that someone is on a lower path. Doesn't mean you see there's a difference. We tend to have that black or gray. Well, if I'm doing this, someone's doing that. It's like, that division is in your mind, that it has to be higher or lower. It's your mind dividing something in some. It's not self-existent, that kind of a division. If I'm on the highest path possible, that there has to be a lower path. That's a perception. It's pretty deep.
What's the
If you do?
Yeah.
Well, depends maybe on what you did. Bring people together. Bring people together. Kind of like an interfaith thing, Seriously, bring people together. And look for the similarities and help people to recognize them. Yeah, exactly that. In regards to this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Embrace others, just look for the happiness they get from, and embrace it. Yeah. Now that was the 14th root downfall, whereas the 6th was, because Because I don't know if you're listening, but sometimes they sound like we're repeating the same vow. Does it feel that way? Anybody? Nobody? Or is it me? Because I've been looking at these for like days and eons, huh?
Like parallels?
Yeah, there's something that it seems like, well, you just said that, but usually what's different is like there's a motivational difference. Or there's a small aspect that's different. The sixth vow was what? Giving up the highest dharma? Thank you. And this one is the 14th? It was. Oh, yeah, because, yeah, go ahead, tell me.
Telling someone no matter how much they study, they won't get to total enlightenment.
Yeah.
What does that do?
14. Yeah, 14. Did I say 16? No, 14. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Total enlightenment. No, eliminate desire. That was 12. They're subtle, right? It's subtle. This crazy. The sixth. What was the sixth again? Giving up the highest dharma, you're pretty much saying that the teachings were not taught by Lord Buddha. Huh? And then to get people to break the vow on the 14th, you're saying that the realizations of the lower way does not lead, to nirvana. And you contemplate the difference. You get back to me. Think about it. They say there's a 14B that's missing, just in case you wanted another one. And it has to do with the root downfall of criticizing someone else due to one's desire for praise of others. See, before we were gaining things, how do you say? It was mentioned already. And this one is still for material gain, but it's very specific. It's still for fame and admiration and for gain, but it's very specific. You have to be a person, to break the root vow here, criticizing somebody else, right? That you have to be a person who's studying and teaching Mahayana. You see? And then you say, kind of like, I'm a bodhisattva. I do great deeds. But he's doing all those great deeds for all that fame. But I'm a real bodhisattva. I don't need anything. You see the difference? You're accusing a person of teaching or studying like you are, and they're doing it for their gain. They're doing it for impure motivations, but you're doing it right. So it's some kind of jealousy, some kind of thing. Well, I'm doing it right, but they're not doing it right. This one, it's a little different tone. So you're kind of actually underlying this is you're jealous of the honor they're getting. So you want to kind of put it down. Oh, well, they're doing it for that honor. That's why they're getting it. Nobody honors me because I don't want it. I'm a real bodhisattva. It's funny though. I mean, watch your mind. I mean, you'd be surprised what goes through your head. And I think this like touches upon when you just look at the vow, but then you look at the motivations and stuff that have to be under it. And those are the things that enter ourselves. These little silly thoughts about stuff. It happens. You might not be thinking it as a bodhisattva, in terms of what you're teaching and what you're doing, but you'll think of that in your career. Oh, he's doing it for the money and for the high position. I'm just doing it because I like my job. I'm such a good person. I'm like volunteering all those hours. But he's doing it just to get paid and get a raise. If you think of how you might do it in your own, I'm such a good person, I work for nothing. He's just working because he makes, $600,000, but I work harder and get paid nothing. I mean, come on, who's really the smart one here? I don't know. See how you do it, because then you're in that circle and you're going to do it. All you have to do is start teaching this, and you're going to do the same thing with what you're teaching and what you're studying. But now maybe you just do it with, I make the best cup of tea. It's great. It's really great. This kind of stuff it'll cut through all your mental afflictions. And when you read the vow, think about it. Well, how does this translate for me in what I do? And you have to do it. I don't know how many people have maybe started a 6 times book here. You have to do it, because you will. Because you're supposed to just pick, okay, this is this one goes for this day, and I'm going to look at these. The day goes by and you're thinking, I wish I had that other ones because I did that, And it's like, these I didn't even do today. Bullshit. You did it. You did it. Don't get fooled by that. And that comes up. You're sitting there at the end of the night, you're trying to fill in that blank. I didn't do this today. Damn, I did it last week, You did it. Why do you think you got that vow today? Come on. Come on. Oh, it's random. Oh, 30 from 35. That's random. Bullshit. It's not. It's not random. It's not. Nothing is an accident in your life. And now they're going to lose sleep for hours. Oh, God. She said that I did it. What did I do? And then you won't be able to fall asleep or something. No, don't be like that, but you'll find it. You'll know. What are we up to? 14? Celebrate. What are we up to? 15. Really? Oh. Professing the complete opposite. Saying you have seen emptiness or angels or the like directly when you have not. Wow. So, to break this, in actuality, you have yet to perceive emptiness directly. And you say that you do. And you have. Kind of like you say to someone, if you meditate like me, you will see emptiness directly, do as I have. So you're indicating your high realizations when you have none. and you're trying to, get somebody to actually, that'll damage your potential greatly to see emptiness directly. All they do is lie about it. To lie about your realizations. To lie about your practice. What for? 16. Accept what belongs to the 3 jewels when someone presents it to you. To accept anything that has been given to anyone else, period. And then on top of that, they're saying 3 jewels in particular. So something that was given to the temple, something that was given to the teacher, the Dharma, something, and you accept it. So obviously it's accepting, well, actually you're doing the stealing, right? Then you're the stealer. Right? Yeah. It's like stealing. But somebody gave it to you. Sometimes they give it to you, and then you have to make sure you give it to where it's going. You don't use it on the way to the temple. They give you the cookies to bring for the class. On the way, you're eating them. I mean, those are the little things. You think, oh, it's just a cookie. But then, they give you a bag full of, gold to bring for the statues, and that's what it'll be next if you start with cookies. Cookies seem harmless, right? You're thinking, they don't need that much sugar anyway. I need it. They don't need all those M&Ms. You don't need all those M&Ms. I can have a few. I got orange again. How did that happen now? Kendi Rodi. Also, it's also if you somebody has stolen something from the temple and then you accept it. I know you're thinking, what if I don't know? What if I know if it wasn't stolen? No. Then it's less. You're not aware that someone stole it. They give you this beautiful statue and you had no clue it was stolen from the temple in Lhasa in 1960. And suddenly you got this beautiful thing.
Wondering what the difference was between this and number 5, which is stealing it.
You stole it yourself.
Number 5 is I stole it myself.
You stole it. Here you're accepting what others have taken. Accepting, receiving. I mean that statue you have from Lhasa sitting in your house? Those collectors. What do you think she should do? Give it away? So somebody else can accept the stolen object? Let's just keep passing on that stolen object.
Maybe give it back to the temple or at temple.
Is it just orange though? Huh?
Give money to a temple or give something.
Instead of like passing around the stolen object, give something else. We can come up with a couple for it, yeah. And what do you do with it in the meantime? What are you going to do? Throw it away? Give it back. It's tricky business, right? I know. I bet you, if you spend enough time, like kind of contemplating what that means for you and stuff like that, it'll turn into a huge opportunity of giving for you, and of really watching the what do you call it, exchange of things. In some ways, yeah. And in relation to the Dharma. And just kind of focus on how do I participate in the many interactions of exchanging objects of Dharma or teachings and stuff like that. And that'll be why it came to you. Protecting things, property too and stuff. speaking of possessions, the next one, 17, the practice of rejecting the practice of you could say quietude, and giving the possessions of meditators to those who, by doing that, you're giving the possessions of meditators to those that are recitators. So now you're thinking, okay, what? Many people, when you're studying, people will specialize in meditation, people will study in memorizing the text, and there's different, especially in the monastery, there's people who get very well known for being, incredible meditators, or this one can recite all the text, this one knows all the rituals, this one knows all and it gets like that. Okay? So, and you yourself have your own maybe tendencies towards a certain type of practice more than another. So what this is bringing out is that people, practitioners who are attracted more to the meditative side of things, right? And they're, again, attracted to spending more time in retreat and meditation, maybe at the expense of study side, memorizing and stuff, where then someone's also then attracted to memorizing all the text, getting all the definitions down, reciting all these prayers, and so on and so forth. So what happens is you reward the people who seem to be studying harder because they're reciting all the text, they know all the prayers, they know the definitions, and so you take something that should be going to the people who are meditating and you give it to these other people you think are studying harder. So you're thinking, okay, now how the hell am I going to do that? I mean, you might be happy, like you're thinking, I can't break any of these vows because I don't even know that many meditators, I don't know that many. So now what does that have to do with, my life, right? You must respect, of course, the practices of different people. You can't assume also that someone who is doing this is at a higher level than doing this. Oh, if they're meditating, they're not as a higher intellectual level. If they're studying, then they're a lousy meditator, and ba 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 ba. We can go on, right? So, of course, this vow is where you actually go and take something from there and you give it to someone else. So it includes that, but you wouldn't even and you're giving it to them because they're kind of making good progress. Well, let's let all the nice cushions, make sure the people in the meditation class get it because they're, oh no, the other way around. Because that's what this one, right? No, they're all meditating good. Give all the cushions to the ones who are in that other class. Little ways like that. Or I don't know. You tell me. You're gonna make sure that your friend who's studying has all the materials they need, and you forget about your other friend who's meditating. They're just meditating. They don't need anything. Like you're not yet stealing. You're not yet in the trade of goods, taking and giving. But you're thinking, oh, they need more. They're really studying harder and stuff like that than this guy here who's, he's just doing that. He doesn't need my help. He doesn't need any more teachings. He doesn't. So how do you begin to start dividing and saying, oh, this one's doing better. This one's doing, let me give them something. That's your circle. It's going to start out here. Until you get to the point where you're going to be really separating those meditators from those recitators, might be a long time. But where are you going to be out here? Who are you looking at that says, oh, they're really great practitioners because they're studying such and such. Oh, they're a really so many people go to that class, you know. Oh, they're really a good, you know, this. So let me support them and not give to them. I think some people don't like to watch their vows and do their books. So when you get this list and you look at it, I mean, I don't know, you know, and it's very hard to understand these vows, right? You do sit there at night and say, I didn't do that. But I think they're fun because it really makes you look at the different things that you do to really try to find out how you can do something like this when you know one person who's meditating and you don't even know what they're talking about when they say recitation. You know, and you'll sit there for hours thinking, how do I... But you want to, because this is the path of a bodhisattva. You want to be able to understand how you can help somebody. And you're thinking, well, how does this even help somebody? How is this really helping someone? You're helping people do their practice. How do you help someone do their practice? How do you set up the most beautiful meditation room and a nice scriptural desk? And how do you help anybody? How do you help them even recite Tibetan? How do you help anybody speak another language so they could read a book that's good for them? How do you help anybody not be so stressed and have some peace in their minds? Who are you giving more attention to? Someone who's studying another language or someone who's in stress and needs to relax? What's your distinction of who needs your help? They all do, exactly. So when you start discriminating, then this is where then you're going to start one day. When you're at that point, you're going to start doing this. So watch how you distinguish. Well, oh, they need my help, they don't need my help. What makes one better than the other? Or more needy than the other? And we discussed some of the needy things, right? They're starving right now, they're bleeding right now, they're on the edge of the roof, they're, you know, there is some immediate emergency aid that you need to give to people. But beyond that, the root downfall of discarding the wish for enlightenment. 18. Discarding the wish for enlightenment. Go ahead, Oren, you tell me. Which one is, what are we, that one between the other one? Which one? 12. Take a guess. Okay, listen to what this one is, and maybe you'll... To give up the wish, to reject the idea of the Bodhisattva ideal. Okay? I will no longer work for the benefit of all sentient beings. I do not want to become enlightened for the sake of all beings. I will not do it, I can't do it. We talked about rejecting the Mahayana, the wish for enlightenment, the greater way. You know, one is giving up the Bodhisattva path by saying, Buddha didn't teach it, and then you reject the ideas. The one of rejecting the greater way. This one is deciding that you're not going to do it anymore. You had the motivation for the benefit of others when you took the vows, and then you decide you're not going to do it. Now, this one and another one are actually particularly a very big negative, serious downfall. What would that one be? Let me see if I know. Huh? Number 9, right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. 18 and 19 and 9, which is holding wrong views, believing there is no such thing as good or bad karma, believing there is no such thing as past and future lives, and believing there is no and are particularly serious and occur whether or not the 4 mental afflictions, the 4 chains, which we're going to go through. What time is this one supposed to end? We're going to go through. Those 2 do not need those 4 chains. Okay, we're going to go through them now. They don't need to be present because you need to have 4 negative attitudes present to break the root vows. Okay? But to give up the wish to reach Buddhahood for all beings or to have wrong view, if you do one of those, you don't have to have these 4 in your heart at the time. You don't. I mean, think about it. I mean, you can kind of get a feel for it, why that would be. Oh! I would have forgot. The 4 chains. Say Chu, Du, Maluk. Chu, Du, Maluk. Chu, Du, Maluk. One of the mental afflictions that if you have in your mind, well, first you have to think these mental afflictions, they're called chains actually, because they bind you, to suffering. And they bind together. They all must be together for you to, you can say, for a major instance, to occur, the major instance of these afflictions to occur, and then your root vow is destroyed. So the first one, and that's in the Abhidhamma. So you need those Hinayana text to understand. You are Chudu Maluk. You are willing to commit the particular wrong deed again. You're willing to do it again. You don't mind doing it again. You're still willing to do it again. You intend to do it again. Now, I like to look at it a different way. You did not try to stop from doing it again. Because generally speaking, you may not consciously say, I can't wait to do that again. Unless you have some kind of pathological situation going. But did you say, I'm going to stop doing that again, at least for the next 5 minutes, or next week, depending on what the deed was, right? You have to set a proper time limit. So it's more like, not only that, like, I'm willing, I can't wait to do that wrong deed again, because that's not going to really occur often. It will for some things. You won't recognize it as that, but it will be there. But you're going to, did you say, I have the desire to stop doing this. I want to try to stop. during the deed, you're doing something. Did you, as at the moment you're doing it, you're picking up the thing that you're about to steal. You're picking it up. During the whole planning of the deed, up to the time you finished the deed, you got home and put it in your, wherever you're putting it, did you have any thought that you shouldn't do it again? You don't break the root vow if you have some thought that you shouldn't do it again. At any point in time, did you lose the desire to do it again? Then you don't collect the breaking of a root vow. If you come to a point and say, I will not do that again. It depends on thinking whether or not it was the right thing to do. Of course, if you think, see, this is where it's going to come in. It's going to slip in because you know what? You think you're doing the right thing. So why are you going to think you're not going to do it again? It's the right thing to do, so why should I think I'm not going to do it again? See, that's where it'll slip in. Because you think you're doing the right thing. Because you're not looking at all the aspects. Is this really a right thing to do? Is it harming somebody? Is it really helping them? Etc., etc. It's the right thing to do. So I'm not going to think that it's the wrong thing to do, so therefore I'm willing to do it again. But is it the right thing to do? That's where it'll slip in, when you have maybe some attitudes that this is really going to help somebody, this is what I need to do for them, this is what they need, blah, 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 blah. But really it's not such a good thing. I don't know, I can't think of an example right now of something, but we have those, but maybe we haven't looked at all the aspects. Maybe it isn't such a good thing to do. When you'll get to understand more of maybe how, so you have some sort of intelligent regret. You're thinking about the consequences. It's not a good thing to do. So you have some sort of intention to fight it, to not do it again. But you can only do that if you see it as a wrong thing to do. If you see it as a right thing to do, then you have the willingness to do it again, without either consciously thinking, do or not do. The second one is, say, Motsa Chalme. That's actually two in one. It's shame and consideration. To not have any shame or consideration about doing it. You're not concerned about avoiding the wrong deed out of respect for the self-image you have of yourself, nor any concern for how your actions will affect others. Shame is kind of like a where your conscious, your own conscience, your own self-esteem will get damaged. In your view, you have some kind of like feeling. Out of your own self-respect, you want to avoid this deed because you have some sort of self-respect. That doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel good about myself about that. I don't like the way that feels. Some kind of self-image. Even if nobody knew about it, on your own, in your four walls, it doesn't feel right. But consideration is when there's others that might see you do something, and you don't want to ruin their good image of you as a good person. So you're like, maybe it's really good that they don't, maybe I shouldn't do that because then they're going to think those, us Bodhisattva people are really, not so nice, and then they'll lose faith for eons. Huh? Then it's more than you, yeah. Whereas shame is more like your own little cubicle at work, and you're like, oh, no one saw that, but it just doesn't feel right. Whereas, otherwise you're thinking, oh, they saw that, it doesn't. It's like if I have my robes on and the light's turning red and I run across the street, I'm like, It's like, oh, what's that nun doing running across the street? How dangerous that is. Often that's the time it comes to me, that thing. It's not really a bad deed, but it is. It's not listening, especially if kids see it, you know. You know, the little ones that are just learning. You know, that they shouldn't walk, because they shouldn't walk across the street when it's turning, you know, with the hand to the person, or the person to the hand, whatever it is. Does that mean I run across the street when I don't have my robes on? I'll never tell. Because then that's shame. Then that's just shame, you know? I mean, they'll lose faith for eons. Oh, those Buddhist people, they just don't watch out for lights and cars and stuff. And then they'll never study Buddhism for years. Could be. I mean, you know, probably have to be something a little more than that, but you never know. Just might be that one person. That's consideration. It could be a little thing that you do, and it's consideration. It's kind of nice, because then you never know. Generally speaking, there's that element of shame anyway in consideration, because really you don't know what they're thinking. So you actually do have a self-image of yourself that might be, you know, you're thinking your own self-image will be shattered. So it's nice if when you're feeling that it's just you, that you could be thinking, well, what is it? What would happen if someone else did see me? And then it's kind of mixing, and it's kind of nice, and you're really watching yourself. You know, it's kind of getting over that attitude of, you know, I don't care what other people think. Anyhow. Right? It's nice to think what's going to harm somebody and what they might think. It's nice. I think we probably rule most of our lives from, you know, especially as a teenager, right? That's when we start that attitude. You don't care what anybody thinks. Well, actually, you care extremely what your peers think. You don't care what your parents think or anybody else thinks, and stuff like that. But you know, what your peers, you want to make sure you always do the right thing. Right? So we do have that. Often, I think, it's important to care what other people think. It's really important. Don't think it's not. What are we up to? 3? Gangu. Gangu. To derive a sense of enjoyment, satisfaction of doing the wrong deed. You enjoy it. Sometimes we hold on to our ways very strongly. We hold on to the way that we deal with stress, how we deal with just people and situations. We hold on to the things that function for us. What you're holding on to is the way your own mental afflictions function. You get satisfaction out of your own mental afflictions. Otherwise, you'd let them go. They are serving you. Let them go. There's some sort of enjoyment we have of functioning with our mental afflictions. Has to be. Otherwise, and I say enjoyment, and you're thinking, I don't get joy out of it, but you get satisfaction, some kind of result, some kind of feeling. It works for you. It works. Your depression works for you. Your irritation works for you. Sometimes it drives you. Your sense of perfection drives you at work, you know, or You have to look, is it for the benefit of others, or is it just me holding on to that this works for me? If I'm really, if you're really, that your directness and your how you can you always telling people how to be a better person functions for you, but you're doing it with criticism, with with some kind of negative emotion behind it. It's working for you. Yeah, maybe that's a certain skill that you have. You're going to be able to help many because you're able to see what they need to do and this and that, but do you have the mental affliction behind you? See, it's usually the mental affliction that's keeping us going and doing these things of helping. It's something, my attachment to you, you're so attached to the suffering that how do you say, rather, let's say it this way, you're so attached to your pride that you always think, oh, they need me to help them. So you're all day serving all these people that just need you. If you would just let go of that pride, you'd find the 10 people to help you also and gain the virtue while you go and serve 1 million people by helping your lama or something, or teaching, and finding someone else to take care of, your mother, maybe, something. I don't know. Your mother's pretty important though. But, because that would be a hard call, It'd be like, what do I do? It's a hard. But you're holding on to your pride. It functions for you. That's why you've been able to help so many people, because you're so proud of your Bodhisattva ways. You see? But once you let go of that mental affliction, you're going to serve more people. So watch how your mental afflictions function for you in your activities of thinking you're helping. We get satisfaction from doing things that are maybe harmful. We get satisfaction of doing good, but maybe they're not real good. Could be better. Could help a lot more. And then, of course, if you don't consider the deed to be wrong, that's nyemik mita. Say nyemik mita. You justify that it's okay. It's okay to react like this. Someone was just unjust to me, so I reacted in a way, and you hold on to, it's okay, it's the only way I can react. They did this, it's the only way I can react. It's the only way. You don't consider it to be wrong, it's like, that's okay. Search for new ways to deal with the uncomfortable situations that you come across. Search for new ways of how can I, don't even get close to thinking that it's okay to do that. It's okay if I'm angry at those people who just keep killing those people there. It's okay. How horrible it is that they should kill someone. I should be angry. Should you? What do you think? Don't you think you can maybe stop them without your anger? Do you think your anger is going to help you stop them from killing? Oh yeah, it motivates you. See? It motivates you to go out there. It's okay. I should be angry at that. Because it is. It's horrible what they're doing. Right? She's like, who? Those people. Doesn't matter who. But we hold on to that. And you feel it's okay. I should be angry. Because it's horrible. Right? But do you need your anger to go and help do it? No, you don't. So you're just saying you don't consider that to be wrong. You can still help them stop killing without anger and do it with love. Oh, what a relief. You love them. Guess what? You're going to help them a lot more. Let that drive you. If you have love for those people who are killing those people, aren't you going to help them a lot more than if you're really pissed off at them? What do you think? I think so. But any feeling that it was wrong to do, you know, the act that you're doing, you don't collect the root downfall. It's so difficult to kind of make these, you know, is it the right thing to do? Did I do the right? You know, it's very difficult to understand the subtleties of actions, of karma. Very difficult. You must call upon those who have gone thus. Your Lama. Those who have done it. Don't be so quick to decide that something's okay, you know, or not okay, or the right. You know, it's very difficult. The subtleties of karma, the subtleties of the vows. You need some reference. You need some help because we're so shielded by our mental afflictions and it's really hard. You really thought you were doing such a great thing, you know, and then you had this thing, this one little, and it's hard. It's really hard. So just pray, you know, you got to pray to those who have done it and ask for their guidance. They will help you. And usually it's just our pride or arrogance that doesn't allow us to surrender and say, please help me, please help me. Please help me. And it's hard. It's just hard. You need a guru and the teachings till the day you die. No matter how much you're even helping people, you still need the guidance. And it's hard for us to surrender to that. Because these are very subtle things and thinkings, and you'll screw up all the time. And it's okay, you know, you're trying. You really just need help. It's hard. I mean, as well, you can have the four forces help you too. That's what we have to go to next, is how to purify. You get the blessings, you get the wisdom, you know, you get the nectar pouring into you from your guru, and then you have to also purify as well. And don't think ever for a second, I can do it because I can purify. Don't ever think that. Right? It's okay, I can do it because there's this purification thing in that Mahayana teachings. They can purify. I can do it. Because you know the essence of the four powers is, if anybody's heard them before, and I think a lot of people have, but we're going to go through them briefly, is I will not do that again. Restraint. Having that. Because if you don't have it, that's one of the powers. So then you're not purifying. So you can't ever say, oh, I can do this again and I can purify and It doesn't work that way. The first one is the foundation. Where you kind of bounce up from falling down. You have a foundation. Your foundation is taking refuge in emptiness and karma. You recommit yourself, to get enlightened for every living being. You recommit yourself to be as those who have seen emptiness directly, to your understanding of emptiness, taking refuge in the greatest protection of all, which is understanding where things come from. Understanding that what you just did is going to result in this. And so therefore, in your purification, you're bouncing up from that kind of knowledge. Oh my, that's what it's going to cause, That's where the destruction force, the next one comes in, where you have that intelligent regret. So it's like, I know I will suffer from this in the future, from that harm that I just did. I know it, You have the perception of you harming someone. So therefore, you are going to then have the perception of someone harming you. And you understand that. So what happens is then you know that the energy is going to come back to you in some negative way, because you already had the perception of you doing something. So therefore it's going to play back to you. Right? Because there's no way to go in and pull it out. You think purification is, I'm going to reach in there, and then all that stuff's going to flow in. Do all this. Woo. Woo. And it's just going to fall off and come out. You just think that's going to happen. That it's okay. You can't. Oh God, wouldn't it be nice to go in and just pull it out? Just get it out there. It would be nice. But if you're doing the purification, what happens is when it does come back to you, it'll come back really small. It's not going to come back at this big thing. Because you've cut the imprint. You've cut the imprint with what? Seeing yourself, stop it. You saw yourself do it, now you have the imprint of stopping it. That's the restraint. You have the imprint now of saying, no, I'm not going to do that again. So when it's coming back to you, when it plays back to you eons later, you'll also have the imprint of you stopping it. So it won't be so big. It'll be, let's say, controllably stoppable. That mental affliction where sometimes you're in it now and you'll say, my God, I can't stop it. I'm in it, I can't stop it. What will happen is, and what will come back to you is something that is able to be restrainable or whatever. Because you, at this point in the purification, you said, I won't do it again. It's really, really important to have that. Oh, yeah, wires and things. So it's a personal pledge that you have to yourself for doing that. And it's a great honor to be able to even do that for yourself. Honor yourself, You're pledging that to yourself. I'm not going to do it. Who else are you talking to at this moment, Honor what you're trying to do. Honor it. Why even lie to yourself or deceive yourself? Honor what you're saying. It's a great thing to honor yourself and your efforts. Then you try to do something to make up for it. The antidote, right? The good deed. You can do something directly. It's kind of nice, You steal, you give. But I think it's also worth it, where you. Of course, and then studying emptiness is a great antidote. There's mantras, there's this, there's that, but it's good to concretely do something directly. But get creative with it also. Don't make it too simple, because then it's not going to have an impact. But also sometimes those very simple, concrete things are really, they're powerful because you just did it. I did this, let me just do that back right away, you know? And sometimes that's really nice. You can lose your vows. As we spoke before about those specific vows of holding wrong views and giving up the wish, you could actually lose your vows by holding wrong views and giving up bodhicitta, the wish to reach enlightenment. Okay? And you will lose them if you have those 4 chains present. So, yeah, that's it on it. That's all. I could say more, but you know, hey, I think I'll give you a break soon. Because we still have a lot. Just don't think that you can, you know, because, you know, we also said we can restore the vows, you know, as well. Don't be thinking, oh, I can restore, although you should restore them often as you can, you know. But don't think you can lose them every day and just take them again the next day. Don't take comfort in that. Because if you destroy a root vow, you will destroy your ability to see emptiness directly in this life. Any of the vows, just in general, it's just an imprint of, you know, don't of course think that it's that simple, because you won't attain the bodhisattva levels in this life. I mean, and the virtue that you have collected to hear these teachings, to be on your way to seeing emptiness directly, it won't, they'll be like this, it just won't increase as nicely as it can in the situation you're in now. You know, that they'll be fresh and they'll be new. It'll take you a while before you might have to restore them. Yeah. But the more and more you meditate on the little details of your mind and how these are great guidelines to help you to focus in and to see what it is that you're doing and how you can best help somebody, then you're not going to do it anyway. You're not going to do it. So they're not just general things, you know, it's subtle. So don't shoot for understanding the subtleties of your mind rather than how do you say, worrying about in the big way that you might be doing the wrong thing. Say, well, how did I really try to be a better person with this particular guideline? What did I do? Instead of looking always for, well, the negative ways that it will be difficult to help others and how you might have messed up or something. Look for the subtleties of how good you're doing. And you will only know that if you watch your mind very closely. Otherwise, you're just going to notice the big things. You see, you have to look at this, you have to meditate, really, in order to even see the subtleties of your mind. You're going to have to meditate to be able to be in touch with the subtleties of your mind and of your body and your winds and your channels. You have to meditate. You also have to do a lot of good virtue and serve others and serve the highest objects for you. The karma that it takes to see emptiness directly is huge. So you want the virtues in your heart to really flourish quickly. And you don't want the process to get frozen in this life by, you know, not carrying out what you promised to do for others. The vows will start you on a path of collecting massive amount of virtue. And we need that. We need it to see the realizations that we need to understand in order to really make a difference. to make the changes that we want, to be happy, to have everybody have happiness. I mean, why waste such a precious life? It's a perfect opportunity to take up this great way to live and to get there quickly as possible. It's a great opportunity. You're so lucky. And you worked hard to get it. So, you know, honor that. Puki juching etokchang pirabin shinin degen padi sangye shindu nikte wagi chokun yondak shinla chupashu idam guru mandala kandira. Thank you. I'll see you like in a couple of minutes. No. Soon. Rest. Like put out some sleepiness. Take a nap. I'd like to meet with some people. Maybe they told. Did anybody tell you? I wanted to meet with people who want to take the vows. Yeah.